Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO retrospective podcast where we talk about all things 3DO, the company, the console, and everything in between. I am Bill, and this is Threk. How you doing, Threk?
Oh, Bill, I am feeling weirdly nostalgic because I've spent all week listening to 70s progressive rock bands that I used to love when I was in high school. A
Nice.
little bit of pictures at an exhibition here, a little bit of Selling England by the Pound there,
There you go.
So yeah, good some good stuff. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm listening to like modern prog lately. I've been on a Coheed and Cambria binge for like the past
Are they prog though?
there are a lot of things. Like
Yeah,
they're very prog in the sense that like their entire discography is one giant fucking story.
that's
And
like a
like
comic book, yeah. But
yeah,
like I listen to the music and I'm like, no, it just sounds like a lot of music that kind of like in that weird like emo circle of like emo and
well, because they're
post-hardcore and alt rock, like
they're
in
a
the late
weird
90s, early 2000s when everything kind of splintered off.
they're a weird band that mixes progressive metal with like pop punk with emo with like
Yeah.
hard like hard rock like because
Yeah,
like
yeah, the influence is there for sure, even though they always downplayed the mainly the Rush one.
I actually saw an interview with Claudio recently where he actually talks about the story behind that, where he had this weird thing about Rush until like
Well,
way
because
later.
everybody was comparing him to Getty, and he had never really listened to Rush at that point.
Yeah, so he
You
kind of
know,
avoided them for years, and then he
yeah,
finally sat down and did, and he's like, "I get it."
yeah. But and I always really liked, I forget which album it was, but they had a hidden track called 2113, which I thought was
Yeah,
cute and charming. But like I fell off them after a while just because, listening to them in a way is like reading a comic book. You kind of have
ironically, my
you have to kind of be into the lore. Cuz I mean the music itself is fine, but I don't know, from that era there are a bunch of other bands I would pick.
ironically, my favorite Coheed album is the one that's not connected to the story at all, the Color Before the Sun,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that's just a
I'd
fun.
fallen off completely by that point.
See, I was listening to Good Apollo today, and like I forgot how progressive their drums were at times.
Oh, great drummer, yeah.
Like Josh Eppiard, I think
Yeah.
that's his name. Because the song the Suffering, which is probably one of their more well known songs, like the
Mhm.
drums in that song are like super progressive, and I was like, damn, this song is
Mhm.
like. Way, I always forget how
Yeah.
good that album is.
I don't know. It's just when my foundation of prog rock is listening to like Close to the Edge and like Thick as a Brick, and then I hear the modern stuff, I'm like, I hear some of the influence, but like even when you connect it all into a line, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. But I feel like the definition of progressive music like evolved past like what those bands were doing back then. And there's a lot of progressive artists these days that like the mentality is still the same. It's just the form of the music has changed.
Yeah,
To where a lot of more experimental stuff is like more in like the electronic world and and hip hop and all that kind like hyper pop in a weird way is kind of like its own little progressive movement that happened, but just in a different context. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You know,
I do think,
it's not ELP.
yeah. Cokie, it's
um,
funny though to me because like they do weird off the wall shit sometimes. Like one of my favorites is during COVID they like they made a sequel to Jesse's Girl, like just for the fuck of it, and they actually got Rick Springfield to join them for it.
I mean, it's got to be better than Fallout Boy's sequel to "We Didn't Start the Fire."
Well, that was trying to be that song. This was just straight up like they made a sequel to Jesse's Girl where it's in the future and you find out Jesse's a train wreck and that his life is ruined because of it.
Was that probably done more tongue in cheek?
Oh no, it's completely the whole
Okay.
joke was they had a joke during COVID where they wanted to do a cover album, but instead of covers, it was all sequels to songs that they didn't write.
I can get behind that. Why not?
And apparently, they called Rick Springfield up about it, and he was like, "That's funny. I want to be a part of this." So he's actually in the music video, and like he does actually sing the second verse. It's really fun.
That's cool. I like
It,
that. Yeah.
it's just a
Again,
dumb
it's
thing
got to
that
be
they
better
did.
than Fallout's "We Didn't Start the Fire," which was them trying to like just way over their heads.
Well, that was
with it.
serious. Like Jesse's
Yeah,
Girl
and it
2
was
is
so
not.
and it's so fucking bad because they totally missed the point
Mm.
of "We Didn't Start the Fire." Even though I don't think "We Didn't Start the Fire" is that great of a song, anyways.
No, it's just catchy. That's like really the biggest thing about it.
Yeah, like it means something to boomers, maybe. I don't know. Like Billy Joel's just He's a better songwriter than that.
All I remember from that damn song is that image of him flipping the goddamn table during the music video.
Yeah. Oh yeah, about the cola wars. He just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah. Rock and roll the cola wars. I can't just take it anymore.
Yeah, but I'd rather just listen to Tarkus. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh man.
Who doesn't love robotic armadillos blowing shit up? And it's a commentary on military industrial complex. It's great. It's beautiful, But yes, we're here now for 3DO. Before we get into the game, but some news. I mean, we're not going to make the whole thing news like last time, just because there's not nearly as much. But
I can't stay up till midnight again.
yeah, we'll just cover our bases. This one, it was so cute. I just had to announce it. A classic gaming brand, Commodore, announces its next product, a flip phone that blocks social media and browsers. So the Commodore brand, they're coming out with a new phone called the Callback. Here, it's a flip phone where it's designed to fit somewhere between a smartphone and a dumb phone, with it noting here the smartphone is still too smart and dumb phones are well too dumb. So we built a bridge in between. Whereas most flip phones don't have any smartphone capabilities, the Callback does feature apps like WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, Google Maps, and Uber, as well as a music player and a 48 megapixel camera. And it has support for some other stuff or whatever. So I don't know what the hell this is. Like, is this just trying to be weird?
This is both cute, but also screams, how do you do, fellow kids?
I mean, I can get behind the sentiment of like a phone that's like, hey, maybe we should just not be on social media all the goddamn time.
WhatsApp social media?
It's like it's like group chat stuff, like kind of organized group chats.
I never used it, so.
Yeah, Aaron tried to get us all to use it, I think, once, and that didn't really work out. But I was trying to find a price on this thing. I couldn't find one.
Who owns the Commodore brand now? Because it can't be the same company.
Let's see here. Actually, it says the Commodore brand has been sold numerous times over the years. In 2025, it was acquired by Christian Perry-Fraddick Simpson. Perry-Fraddick is in quotes. I nickname or something. Last year, it announced an FPGA recreation of the Commodore 64 called the Commodore 64 Ultimate, and now it's revealing this. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know they were doing another Commodore 6, because there's that Commodore 64 Mini a few years ago, but it wasn't like the people who owned Commodore, so they had to call it the C64 Mini, and it had like a little keyboard, but you couldn't use it. You had to plug in a real USB keyboard. Gee, I wonder why it didn't go anywhere. But that was in like the tail end of the mini consoles where everyone was like, yeah, maybe this is kind of stupid.
It was the last one that was really worth it was probably the Genesis Mini, or maybe the TurboGrafx. The TurboGrafx was pretty cool too.
TurboGrafx Mini was probably worth it. I have the Genesis Mini and I modded it, but then I just don't use it anymore. Because the problem with the mini consoles is I think all of us would rather just have those games playable on whatever we play our games on anyway. Rather than plugging in a whole new, like, because if I'm gonna bother to plug in a device to just play like the old Genesis games, I'm like, why don't I just plug in a real Genesis?
Yeah, exactly.
And get the real experience. Like this weird, like if I'm gonna have emulated versions, I can just do it on my computer, or you could have bought the Genesis collection. You could probably find physical copies of it these days, and I'm hoping Sega is doing something with their old stuff again, but be that as it may. I just saw this thing. I thought it was kind of cute. Again, I couldn't find a price. If there is one, I just didn't catch it, I guess. Apparently, they have like a launch gold model. Like, why? But I don't know. I do like the idea of a phone that's like, it has the smartphone capabilities, but it tries to prevent you from doom scrolling. Because that's something that I think kills a lot of our brain cells.
Yeah. That's why I've moved to. I try not to be on social media that much anymore.
Yeah, you're smarter than me. This thing I thought was kind of cute. Pixel Arcadia is a new showcase dedicated to retro games. So I guess they're organizing this company, I guess, called Pixel Arcadia, or I think that's what the showcase is called. It's being organized by retro game marketing specialist Pixel Helix What kind of job title is that? And that's taking place on my birthday, the 24th of August at
Nice.
2 p.m. Eastern, the real time zone. It says the show will bring together numerous publishers of retro titles for new announcements with some of the biggest names in retro promised. From re-releases and remasters, new titles in retro genres such as shmups, brawlers, and beat 'em ups, to games made for retro platforms and new officially licensed hardware, the retro space is broad, and Pixel Arcadia will bring it out of the shadows. As well as announcements, the show will feature a deep dive developer insights and commentary, moving away from rapid fire trailer reels towards meaningful contextual storytelling that honors video game history. I kind of prefer the rapid fire trailers, to be honest. I mean, sure, why not? You know, like, I guess it's a way of like organizing all of those like old, like retro style games and putting them in one spot because there are people who probably like only like old shit and the only new shit they play looks like the old shit. I'm sure there are those weirdos out there, guys who are like 15 years older than us, who think gaming peaked with the Super Nintendo.
Or the Nintendo.
Yeah. But hey, nothing wrong with it. I mean, I'm playing one of those right now. It does have some modern things in it, but it is, be that as it may. So yeah, looks kind of neat, I guess. So yeah,
that's fun.
Yep. But not speaking of fun, I'm sure some of you wanted my opinion on all this stuff that's happening right now. I'm sure it's all been out there. So right after, like almost right after the Xbox showcase, Asher Sharma and Matt Booty, they knew this memo would get leaked, so they just posted it online saying that like the Xbox brand needs to do like a big reset and harsh realities and all this other stuff, which normally equates like layoffs and shit. I believe Microsoft's financial year ends on June 30th, so I imagine in that time is when we will see this stuff. There's been a lot of speculation and talk, but the big one is from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg. So the reporting's mostly accurate. He's pretty good. Where I guess there are 3 studios at the moment who are in danger of being shut down, but they're trying to spin themselves off, and that would be Compulsion Games, who made South of Midnight, the award-winning South of Midnight, by the way, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory. So
I also saw it apparently is rumored as well.
It is one of there's a bunch of others that are like rumored. Like those are only 3 that I feel concrete. Everything else is like id and some other stuff, but most of this I'm just viewing it as like, hey, we'll wait and see what happens, right? Because then there's also talks of like Xbox spinning off into like its own subsidiary, much in the way of like a LinkedIn or a GitHub. I'm sure some of you do not know, but those both are technically owned by Microsoft, but they are subsidiaries and operate on their own and seem to do fine. And I think if Xbox were to get spun off into its own thing, I think that would be a good thing, genuinely, because then they could probably be run a little bit more efficiently. But with the things going on with like these studios, they're probably trying to use Toys for Bob as an example to be like why they can be, left to go do their own stuff. I think Double Fine will probably make it out of that the best of the 3 because they've been independent before. They originally were independent.
They still have their original head too, which is
Tim Schafer, he's a much well-respected legend in the business, and he does have a way of like charming people. From what I've heard, like he is really good at like talking his way around stuff. And I imagine if any of these 3 studios get spun off back to what they were, it'd probably be Double Fine. In fact, I'm hoping Schafer like has money reserves planned for this. Like in the back of his head, he's like, this might happen, so let me just kind of prepare for it, kind of thing. Because I've also seen some people suggest this could just be, with Xbox doing the hard reset, I've seen people think maybe are they going to pull back on Game Pass a little bit? Because if you think about it, 10 years ago, Xbox or Microsoft in general were all about like subscriptions, right? Office 365, all this kind of stuff. And Xbox was like, oh shit, we need a subscription. Game Pass, right? And as much as I've loved Game Pass over the years and really enjoy the service and I've played a lot of amazing games through it, I mean, you have to look at the numbers. It is true that it has led to like smaller sales on Xbox as far as like those games are concerned, and less companies wanting to bring their game over unless Microsoft like gives them the Game Pass check,
Mm.
like all that kind of stuff. So it could, I don't see them like completely pulling the plug on it, but maybe like, again, this is just me speculating here. Like maybe they go like the PlayStation Plus route with it, where they offer those games kind of, but they try to get people back into, please buy our games again.
Yeah,
We really
they kind of
appreciate it.
as cool as a thing it was for the consumer, they really backed themselves into a wall with it because
Yeah,
they
well, because
cannot just get rid of it because that would be bad for them.
because I think like 10 years ago when they did it, they were just kind of in a different spot where they felt they could take the hit on it and be okay. And they thought like, because Game Pass would work if it had like consistent, stable growth.
Yeah,
Like if it was constantly expanding, it makes all the sense in the world. But as we've seen, it hasn't had that growth that they've wanted.
then the
You know?
streaming, the whole like subscription streaming bubble is like imploding right now, which isn't helping
Yeah,
either.
yeah. I mean, yeah, Netflix isn't looking too hot either, and all the stuff going on with Paramount and
Yeah,
all that stuff. So it's like it was just different era, different viewpoints on things. But also it helps to have like a steady flow of content into that thing, particularly first party stuff, right? And the idea of getting Double Fine, Compulsion, and Ninja Theory was to expand that. Like I think why they got so many studios was to have that constant flow of first party games for Game Pass. But they haven't had that steady flow of games. Like we're starting to get it now, but like if you remember like in COVID, like everything just kind of stopped.
yeah.
I guess they just hit a fucking brick wall in COVID because Sony didn't hit the brick wall till like a few years later, or like arguably now, where people are like, where are their fucking games, right? Whereas like Microsoft, they have a steady flow, but I think because of Game Pass kind of getting in the way, and then you're constantly hearing about all these games are not selling, and it's like, but you have to think like is a game like Double Fine's Kiln going to be a big seller? No, it was never meant to be. Like games that are made by Double Fine in these smaller studios, you don't get those games because they're going to be big million unit movers every time, like million plus, whatever. You get those games for that steady flow of content into Game Pass to keep people into the service. But then when that doesn't happen, what do? You raise the price, which is what they did. So who knows, I maybe with like bringing the exclusives back, part of it is they tone down Game Pass to try to maybe get people back into buying the games like they used to or whatever, or getting more people to do it. And then maybe that they take a little short-term hit, but maybe in the long run that tends to pay off better. I don't know, I'm just fucking spitballing here, but like, and then people shit on them for the Activision acquisition, the Bethesda stuff, and it's like it's easy to do that now. Like if
I
you
mean,
guys,
people
like
did
if we all
question
remember, well,
back then
when they bought Bethesda back in 2021, wasn't it?
around there.
Yeah,
No, it was 2022. I want to say.
it was before ABK though.
I believe so. Yeah.
It was, but I remember when they acquired Bethesda. I think from what I remember, everyone was like fairly positive on it because Bethesda, like the opinion of them was still fairly high.
Well, the Bethesda wasn't so bad. It was then
No.
immediately following it up with Activision that people were
Yeah,
like,
well, the Activision one, I don't think it would have hurt them as bad if like the Call of Duty series was still like making solid games. Like I
Yeah.
liked Black Ops 6. A lot of people didn't like Black Ops 7. So like Call of Duty kind of took a hit. And then you have some of their other big like really enough, Candy Crush is like 1/3 of ABK's revenue.
Yeah.
Not even kidding, fucking mobile games. And then that's been taking a bit of a hit. Like it's all this that like when they bought it, it's like I see why they wanted to, but you look at it now and it's like everything kind of downturned after that, and that's why it looks bad.
It
Whereas
also felt like
if
it
they
was
bought them
too
and everything,
soon after the
yeah,
other one.
but if they bought them and then everything did the same or even better, everyone would have said, "Oh, what a smart pull, right? What a smart move." So some of those things you can't predict. They probably should have bought Crystal Dynamics like everyone thought they were going to instead of Activision, because that would have been a much safer bet. But
Yeah.
be that as it may. Yeah, they're just we don't know. It's a lot of speculation. But really, I feel like it's emblematic of just the whole state of the industry right now. That there's a lot of like consolidation happening. A lot of these companies are just taking less risks and trying to go all in on the hits. Because another thing with the Xbox stuff is they're trying to like be like, okay, we really got to commit to like Elder Scrolls and Fallout and Halo, like these big IPs that they own, and do stuff with, which I agree. But I feel like if you have to kill these smaller games to do it, it's like, then why'd you get these smaller games to begin with? If you weren't going to commit to them, like you're like, oh, but we really need to get Elder Scroll 6 out there. You know what I mean? So, but looking around, there's other stuff happening, like Don't Nods and is they said they might be running out of money. Like that's what they said. Um, they sold a minority stake of their company to Tencent, but that didn't really seem to help them. And they're just kind of like Tencent is not in a or not Tencent. Tencent's fine, but like Don't Nod is potentially in a bad spot. Um, like there is some rumors swirling around that like Bungie may be getting hit with mass layoffs soon.
I mean,
I heard as much as 50%, but again, grain of salt with that.
Considering how overbloated and how like underperforming Bungie is, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. But we'll see if and when that happens. And then the other one I saw is At Games is going bankrupt.
I'm amazed they hadn't already.
Yeah, but what's crazy is At Games owns Miss Pac-Man.
How does that work?
So
I know it's because Miss Pac-Man's a weird fucking.
Yeah, not to give like a whole history lesson on it, but I think Miss Pac-Man was done by like guys at Midway, I think. And they
Well, 'cause it was originally a mod. Yeah,
it was originally a mod, and then but it was done by like two guys, and then them and Namco kind of fought over the rights for many years, and then something happened a couple years ago where the relationship soured, and then they sold the rights to At Games. So that's why like if you see all those At Game stuff, they have Miss Pac-Man in there, but like when you see the new Pac-Man stuff, they can't do that, so they have to have like Pac-Mom and shit. It is a very weird, complicated history that is like that could be its own episode, really, like a deep dive into the legality of Miss Pac-Man.
If At Games is truly struggling, they should.
I mean, honestly, just sell the smart thing they should do is sell Miss Pac-Man back to Namco.
Yeah,
just
end that.
Just like have it, okay? You guys can have it, and then maybe they shoehorn her back in, because I think like the Pac-Man World 1 and 2 remix they didn't have Miss Pac-Man, but she was in the originals because they still had the rights back then. So they had to like force her out of it. Weird stuff. So basically, seeing all this stuff just says to me that like, again, the gaming industry is just not really in a healthy place because everybody's just trying to chase as much profit as possible. And Xbox is like, oh, the easiest way to do that is just to trim the fat, and then the numbers go up and they look better to the precious shareholders, right? When it's like, guys, like again, it's just like all these people who are going to be losing their jobs, losing their livelihood, like in such a volatile space right now, just the tech space in general, not just video games. You have all these people who like, just can't hold a stable job because of all this shitty stuff. And then you have fucking Elon Musk being a trillionaire in the same goddamn space, all purely on speculation. Like SpaceX, like I heard in the same sentence that like SpaceX is being valued at $1.8 trillion despite never turning a profit. Mm-hmm. Which, what fucking sense does that make? But then on the same thing, you have like Xbox's fiscal year last year was the most money they'd ever made. Like ever. Yeah. And like it's still not enough. Because then, like Nutella did that one interview where he said some stuff that it's like, I don't know if I fully agree with that, talking about how like YouTube monetizes our games better than we do. And I'm like, I'm not sure if I agree with that. I mean, that's a whole thing. Because if he's talking about like how like YouTubers make ad revenue from playing games online on YouTube,
they really don't.
I mean, even if he's just talking about like the ad revenue that streamers or like YouTubers generate from those games, it's like that's not purely a Microsoft problem. That's an everybody problem because everybody fucking does that. And I'm sure there are tons of people.
Well, except Nintendo. Nintendo,'s like, we're just gonna take that.
I don't know. They don't do that anymore.
Well, yeah, because they got so much backlash, but for a long time they were.
yeah. But like, because I'm sure there are a bunch of people who just cannot afford to play all the newest, latest games because everything just keeps getting more expensive. So they just watch other people play them.
Pretty much. I mean,
so, you know, again, I really don't know. I feel like if Xbox was spun off into being its own subsidiary, I feel like that'd probably be better for it, because then it could actually just operate on its own, not having to worry about all this Microsoft bureaucracy, and maybe get their shit together. Because I feel like the big issue with Xbox is there's just too many hands in the pot. There's always been too many hands in the pot where like all these people say we got to do this, all these people say we got to do that, and you have to always please, you know, the top dog. You know, it's rough. And apparently also, I did not know this, but PlayStation or Sony Interactive Entertainment is a subsidiary of Sony. They operate on their own, which probably explains why they do just fine.
They always have. Actually. I think that's actually been a thing. So I
think it's always been a subsidiary, like since the PS1 days.
Because it was originally Sony Computer Entertainment. They changed to Interactive Entertainment a few years back.
Yeah.
But so, they've always been pretty much independent.
So maybe Xbox just needs to copy PlayStation and then they might be okay.
Possibly. There's a reason why Sony's survived the amount of stupid shit they've done over the years.
Yeah. So that, who knows? But as I've always said before, it's not like I'm not going to be jumping ship because that's fucking stupid. Like, I don't think like, again, with digital libraries and everything, it's like, no, I can't afford to jump ship. Like, that's fucking stupid. But also, I can't imagine, like, even if I don't think, as I've said before, I don't think Microsoft's ever going to pull out of gaming entirely. Like, it's too much of a core identity in their business model and what they do. You know, especially, you know, with Windows and PC gaming, like they're always going to have an investment in it.
See, the thing that drives me insane nowadays is the amount of people who will throw around the Go Sega thing. People don't realize how in the toilet Sega was. Like, if
Sega didn't cut their hardware division, they wouldn't exist anymore.
Like,
they flat out wouldn't exist.
Like the whole like Nintendo, like when Nintendo was struggling, quotation marks, with the
they've had their struggle moments for sure.
They've had their struggles for a particular thing, but like Nintendo themselves has never been struggling.
But I think that's because Nintendo has always made safe investments, and they've always had a good track of their books financially, because even in their rough times, they're still like, they trudge along just fine, even when they're losing money. Because in the Wii U era, it was the first time in forever they lost money consistently year over year.
Yeah. And
that's why they like pivoted the smartphones and almost kind of quickly got to the Switch, you know.
Well,
they had to. Yeah, did some, like, it felt like they were doing some like slightly more risky things than they had before, because it's like you can't keep, like, even as smart of a company as Nintendo is, especially with how they're run, you can't keep losing money year over year and be fine. Like,
because you got to
remember, like, they had a bunch of cash reserves, but like if the Switch didn't hit, then I would have been worried about them.
The Switch was exactly what Nintendo needed to do. The Wii U was like the textbook example of them playing it extremely safe. And like, but also they were basically trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah. They were thinking everybody would just buy it because they're Nintendo.
Well, they thought they could.
To be fair, that's been their mentality since the 80s.
They thought they could make a more advanced like console that would appeal to hardcore gamers, but also keep the casuals who they didn't realize had already ditched them years ago by that point.
Yeah, and when you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody.
Yeah.
And that's another issue with Microsoft. In a weird way, they've tried to please everybody, but they end up pleasing nobody.
I think Microsoft's issue is they don't know who their core fan base is sometimes.
Well, and also I feel like I think it's just a lack of a genuine, consistent vision that they actually try to see it through, you know, because they're constantly changing how they want to do things or how they want to run things. And I think that's just because of like all the corporate bureaucracy they have to deal with. Well, where it's like you can tell the people in that division want to do it one way, but then it's like why is this fucking change out of the blue? And I think it has to be somebody like in Microsoft's like, you know, finances in their accounting department being like, hey, you can't do this because of blah 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 blah, and then it's just this constant butting of heads, I think is why they've never really been able to stay consistent.
Well, I
That's
was
my
thinking
opinion.
about this like years ago, like even during like the 360 era, which was by far their strongest era. Like the 360 never really had an identity the same way like the Wii or the PlayStation
It
did.
did though.
It did in a
Everyone called it the shooter bro console.
well, it had that, but that wasn't like by their own like design. Because I think of like the 360 commercials, there was never like a consistent commercial. It kind of like always was just kind of like it's an Xbox, yay.
Well, I feel like the 360 it was more consistent because like Halo and Call of Duty really blew up in that era, and then also it being the more affordable console that was easier to make games on. I think like if anything, its identity back then was being the default console that
Yeah.
everybody went to in that era. And funnily enough, I think that's the identity Sony has taken with the PS5, I would say a little bit of the PS4, but
I'd
I
say
think
even
but I would argue the
PS3.
PS5's identity is just being the default console.
I'd say
Because
even
what identity does the PS5 have? Like
nothing now. I mean,
exactly.
I'm not saying Sony's accurate, but when I think of like Sony, like the PS4, I always remember like it only does everything. Like that was their big ad campaign,
That
which
was PS3s, I think, when they did
was
the
it PS3?
I think when they did the slim redesign with those I forget that guy's name.
Kevin Butler.
Kevin Butler, yeah,
Fucking-
those ads. I saw those ads all the time.
I miss him. I can't believe he got
That was a good campaign. That was a really good ad campaign.
and he got fired because he was like appeared in like a Nintendo thing by accident. Like the dumbest reason to fire somebody.
Yeah, but the video game industry is so fucking weird when you really think about it.
Yeah, but I mean Nintendo
that it can't operate on the same like core principles that like a lot of other entertainment is run on, but
I mean I'll give it to Nintendo though, like 100%. They have their identity because like everyone knows the Switch ads because you'll hear that click and you immediately know.
Well, and Nintendo's identity was built on Mario, Zelda, Kirby, all their games, right?
I will say though,
Sony was developing an identity with that IP, but it feels like even that's taken a backseat in the more recent years, because it feels like they haven't committed to their first party IP the way they used to. That could just be me being like, man, I miss the PS1, PS2, and PS3 days where like they were willing to just take more risks and just do all kinds of stuff, and they just really don't anymore. But again,
the
that's
problem is games just take too long to make now.
Well, and I think that's reflective of just the industry being less risk taking than it used to be as well. Yeah, because of development costs and everything. Like speaking of Jason Schreier, I still need to watch it, but he did a whole video about why games cost so much. Like he broke it down, and I've been meaning to sit down and watch that video because people said it was really good. Because that I think that also explains some of the issues as well. Like I don't know. The more I think about it, I'm like, is this industry gonna crash? Is another crash inevitable? Like it's not gonna be like the '83 crash, but I don't know. I feel like the floor is gonna get pulled out eventually, and something fucking crazy is gonna happen. Like, of course, games will never go away, but I imagine in 10 years, the industry is gonna look a lot different than it does right now.
Yeah.
But in what way, for the good or for the better or for the worse, don't know. Genuinely don't know. But I think you're in the agreement with me and probably most people listening to this. As long as they are still making games I want to play, I'll hang around. I'll stick to it, But
yeah. We'll it's basically.
Yeah. I mean, I also worry about EA with the Saudi stuff because I think they're going to get bought out by the Saudis, but I think the Saudis have kind of run into some money issues and
they've been buying fucking everything recently.
Yeah, but they've not been making the money they thought they would. So some people are like, is the EA deal going to go south? And because then I was thinking like, if EA fucking dies, that would be weird. Because it's like, what happens?
We wouldn't get Madden and we wouldn't get FIFA anymore.
Which would be weird.
Because they don't seem to do anything with their other shit anymore.
Yeah, well, I heard some layoffs. I did hear some significant layoffs could be a BioWare. God damn it.
BioWare's been a shell of their former selves for a while now.
It's a whole thing. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Imagine you're like Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, for those who don't know. Like waking up one morning,
This damn thing's been broken since we got it. Sorry.
no, imagine him like getting a phone call and and he picks it up and somebody's like, "Oh, you know the company that makes our football games every year? Oh yeah, what about them? They're dead." He's like, "What do you mean they're dead?" You know?
And then 2K rises up from the ashes and goes, "Hey."
2K would swoop in. 1000% they would swoop in, but it wouldn't be the same.
You remember us? We made the greatest football game of all time.
I mean, I'd love to see NFL 2K but come back, but like in that context, I mean, even now, it's like Visual Concepts is not the studio.
No, they're not.
They're stretched way too goddamn thin, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But, you know, we don't need to get into that. But yeah, I feel bad for. Sorry for the burp. I feel bad for all these people who are probably going to be losing their jobs. I hope the studios that are trying to become independent do become independent. And who knows with whatever's going on with goddamn Xbox, we always have to talk about them, you know, because everything they do, everybody has to fucking chirp about it every time.
Yeah.
Despite being third in the console race, despite being irrelevant, everybody wants to fucking talk about them. But I think it's because they're attached to one of the biggest companies in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's putting all of their goddamn money in AI, and it's clear it's not going to work. Yeah. And I think they're not sure where to go.
It's hard to it's hard to shit on Nintendo because Nintendo doesn't care. And
I'll shit on them all day. I don't.
Well, yeah, you can shit on Nintendo, but like Nintendo don't give a shit. So you're basically
no company is above criticism. Not a single one. Even the ones you like. Like, I mean, you know, you guys know me. I'm the Sega boy. I have no problem bitching about Sega. Well, I got no problems with it.
I'm just saying when you bitch at Nintendo, you're basically yelling at a wall because they don't care.
Oh, I know they don't care, but I do it anyways.
I don't want to waste the energy. Like, and then yelling at Sony's not even fun because they just fucking give up the second
they get hiding in the corner. They're just like chilling in a dark corner, and they occasionally chuck a game out.
Well, no, they're up on there.
Here was Soros. Okay, here's Wolverine, and then here's I don't know. They're Heretic.
They're up on their Heretic thing. They're up on their little platform up there, and they're just kind of avoiding everything because they're just like, "Damn, it's quiet up here."
Yeah, like honestly, they're kind of being them and Nintendo are being smart by just not saying anything.
It's better at this point.
It really is. Yeah, Luigi and Mario Party just don't do anything.
Yeah,
but
just the death stare whenever you pass them in Mario Kart.
I just you know, for me, somebody who's in the ecosystem, like has put a lot of money into it. I want Xbox to be a healthier company, you know, for my own selfish sake, so I can, you know, remain in this ecosystem and keep playing games on the system, and for all of those who have, you know, bought into it and are, you know, wanting to stick around. I hope they're able to become a healthier company for that. And what path they take, whatever works. I mean, I'm hoping 5 years from now, we look back and go, you know what? They figured it out and they're doing all right now. They don't need to be number one. They just need to be all right.
Because I'm at the point now where I firmly just believe eventually the Switch 2 is going to surpass the PS5, and then that's just going to be the number one again. We're going to move on.
We'll see. Nintendo needs more games to do that, I think.
They do, but the growth of PlayStation is not super quick at the moment, and the Switch.
No, and honestly, I don't think like the next gen, the PS6 and Project Helix, I don't think either of them would do any good to begin with.
I don't see those coming anytime soon.
Yeah, like with the memory, because everybody forgets the memory shortage, like that's affecting everybody.
That and like the majority of people,
like because Xbox had said that, you know, they just couldn't really afford to make the consoles to meet the demand. You know, because demand has gone up a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, and they're just having a hard time, you know, affording to make the consoles. And it's like, yeah, that's true because of the memory stuff, which, you know, they're part of the problem with that with the AI shit. But also, it's like that affects Sony and Nintendo as well. That's why everybody keeps raising their fucking prices. That's why we still haven't seen what the Steam machine's going to be yet.
It's also funny to me because like you get the people be like, Xbox announced they're working on Helix and Sony's working on the PS6. I'm like, they've been working on those since the PS5 and series came out.
Yeah,
like, that's not like a new surprise.
Yeah, but I don't want to see either of those things for another 3 years.
I don't think we're gonna. I honestly even 3 years, because I still say to this day, there's been nothing to play on PS5 that's worth owning that system.
In a sense, I mean, I would. If you're just somebody who just wants to play games, you're doing fine.
It's the PS5 is a phenomenal PS4.
Yeah.
That
And I
is
would say the Series X is a much better Xbox One.
yeah, honestly. I mean, there's like a
like if you
handful
just
of
want to
games.
buy a console just to play some games,
Oh, you're good in either
you're
way.
fine. You're having a good fucking time. Like I've said it before, there's never been a better time to get into gaming than right now because of the accessibility of it. And I'm sure some people will say, well, what about the prices of the consoles? It's like, yeah, true.
Well, right now,
With
yeah.
like the current gen, but you can go back to PS4, Xbox One, get one of those for dirt cheap, and you're probably doing just like you get a PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X, like the enhanced one, for probably a decent price, and you already get a bunch of the modern games anyways.
Yeah.
If you have a half decent computer, you can emulate so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like like being a gamer is probably better than it's ever been, but the industry is just
We got too
not in
much
a good
shit
spot.
now. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah. And then the inevitable GTA 6.
Still not buying it's coming out, but we'll see.
Oh, I'm convinced it's coming out in November.
I know.
Because if
Well,
every company's avoiding it, they're expecting it to. And Take-Two has doubled down on the release date. So once we get the third trailer and they open pre-orders, which I think will be probably sooner than later, that's when it's like, okay, it's locked. It ain't moving. It ain't moving anymore.
we'll see. I'm curious. I'm curious about it.
Oh, I'll play the game eventually. Just not day
I'm
one.
not buying it day one.
No, I got Godzilla to play.
I got
We got to play the
Persona.
Barbie games.
I got Persona 4 Revival.
That's not till February, dog.
Yeah, but realistically, by the time I could even afford to get 6, it'll be February. So
Yeah. So anyway, that's all we got.
yep.
That was my bit.
I did. Speaking of Persona 4, though, I did want to talk about. They announced the voice cast for Revival, and so people are mean in the comments. That's for sure.
Wow. So who's in it?
So they've only announced the main 4 plus Marie right now. So apologies if I butcher some of these names. Apparently Yu Narukami is going to be voiced by Nazi Tarsha.
Is he actually going to have things to say in this game?
I doubt it. It's probably grunts. Maybe he's also voicing Adachi. Spoilers. We don't know yet, though.
Dude, don't spoil. Don't spoil. Come on.
Yeah, let's face it, most people know.
If you're listening to the show, there's a chance. But watch, we hear from somebody be like, "Oh, you know that," or they're gonna be like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "You'll find out when you play the game."
Then we got Paul Castro Jr. is playing Yosuke. Anne Yatko is playing Chie.
Is this the Japanese cast or the English cast?
This is the English cast. Brianna Knickerbocker is voicing Yukiko.
How do you feel about that?
It's going to be weird it not being Amanda Winley. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
From the trailer, she sounded...
Is it they weren't brought in because the Golden Cast was not brought back in because of like union stuff?
It's unknown because they apparently weren't even asked.
But like this has happened before with other like Japanese games where they don't bring the voice cast back. And what I've heard consistently is it has to do something with like union and paying. I think like every Japanese company thinks that if they bring the English cast back, they're all going to ask for more money and they don't want to pay them more.
Probably it gets confusing though, because like I know like Yuri Lowenthal was like very notable about basically like he was basically desperately begging to be brought back and they ignored him. So yeah, I don't know either. It always comes off weird. It's like the whole Troy Baker thing with Tales of Vesperia, where he's like, I would have done it if they asked me. I would have done. He said he would have done it for cheap, or which is really funny because Atlas did like bring him back for Catherine. So
yeah,
but
maybe it's just because there's less stuff for him to do in that game. I don't know.
Maybe.
And I assume he's not coming back for Kanji in this.
Well, he hasn't come back for Kanji in a decade at this point.
Yeah, so safe bet.
And then Marie is voiced by Ari Thrash. Cool, metal as fuck name.
Sure.
The top comment on this Reddit thread is literally, "I don't recognize any of these names." So that's.
I got nothing. So we'll see.
I'm reading now. Apparently, a lot of them are in modern animes and stuff. So cool. Uh, I mean, I don't really care. I'm over it at this point. I've a little.
I mean,
It's
you've already spent your what? How much was it? $60?
it was 70.
They charged $70 for this remake.
Of course they did.
Jesus Christ, guys!
I mean, to be fair, it's not going to go through.
Honestly, thank God for day one for Game Pass for this guy.
Yeah, I mean, to
I've
be
already
fair,
bought the game like 3 times, the original. So shut the fuck up.
I've bought it more. That's besides the point.
I know.
Realistically speaking, I'll get over it real fast. It is what it is. What are we gonna do?
I mean, not to be devil's advocate, but there's a chance these people could be better.
Yeah, maybe. The trailer basically made me. Actually, here's the bigger thing. I point out to a lot of people, half the main cast had already been recast by the last entry, anyways.
Yeah,
because Dancing All Night, the only originals left were Johnny Young Bosch as Yunar Kami, Yuri Lowenthal as Yosuke, and Amanda Winley as Yukiko. Everyone else was not the original actor. Although, in the fairness, Chie's VA has basically been Erin Fitzgerald forever. No one remembers the lady from the first game, and Teddy was always Sam Riegel. Yeah. Aside from the first game,
like the main change I remember from the OG4 and Golden is Chie.
Yeah, Chie and Teddy changed between the original game and Golden, but Teddy's was so close no one really noticed. And
yeah. But Chie's, the two are very different.
Yeah, that one's Erin Fitzgerald's voice makes more sense, to be honest.
1,000%, yeah. So
yeah, because like obviously Troy Baker had been replaced by Matt Mercer, and then Naoto had like 7 different VAs over the course of the series, to the point where we didn't even know who her original VA was for the longest time.
Yeah, and a lot of these comments I see is just people being like, who are these people, or why are they changing the cast? And
yeah, it's I've noticed
it has to be money. It has to be money, because I could just imagine these VAs coming back and they're like, we want you to reprise the role, and it's like, yeah, I'll do it, but for more money, because they think these people will get like a big head or whatever and be like, hey, everybody loves my voice in this role, so you need me back. And the Atlas are just like, fuck you, we don't want to do that. That's the only thing I could guess. I genuinely
I'm convinced it's a money thing too, because a lot of these are newer VAs from the looks of it.
Yeah. I've always heard it has something to do with like voice acting unions and the way they structure things.
Yeah.
Because I know it's an issue with like Bamco as well.
Yeah.
You know, and there were some. If you remember the whole God, what was her name? The original voice of Bayonetta. I forget her name.
I know who you're talking about.
But that whole controversy, I think I would argue that may have spooked some companies, genuinely.
Yeah, which is I hate that too.
That was such a fucking shit show. Oh my god.
She basically committed career suicide doing that.
Oh, absolutely, she did. Yeah.
I felt so bad for Jennifer Hale.
Like Christian people, so she's like, she's like, God will save me or whatever. I'm like, yeah, fuck you.
I felt so bad for Jennifer Hale. She got so much fucking hate for that for no reason.
And I thought Hale did a good job. I mean, she's not the iconic Bayonetta voice, but I thought she did a good job. So
I mean, she's a top class voice actress.
Exactly. And she handled that so well.
Yeah, she didn't.
Props to her. She handled it like a class act.
Yeah,
she did not feed the trolls at all. She just made a weird cryptic video about just being like, hey, don't hate. Like, it is what it is. You know, because what was the original? I need to know now. God damn it. So I just need to say her name. Helena Taylor. That's right.
Right. Yep.
That was the original. Because she threw shade at Hale and like everybody else about it. You know, as you said, burn the fucking bridge. You know.
Yeah, and then all the fucking the receipts came out, and it was like,
oh god, because I was so hyped for 3. Excuse me, I was so hyped for 3 when it was coming out and everything, and it was just like I was just locked into everything, and then this happened, and then it kind of spoiled me on the game. And God, I wonder how many people did not buy Bayonetta 3 because of that whole thing, because some people said
probably
they weren't going to. Yeah, but then we found out the game wasn't as good as the first 2. Shocker. So some people didn't buy it anyway.
Yeah.
And I have
Well,
the whole deluxe edition right back there.
I
I
feel
spent the
bad
money. I do
too.
not regret spending that money though.
I, the worst was all the people that boycotted it because of the voice change, and then once they found out about the bullshit, by then they also found out the game wasn't that good, so they just didn't buy it regardless.
Oh yeah. Well, some people tried to double down on it. I remember that, and then other people just being like, "Oh, sorry." It's like I spoke too soon. Like, yeah, no fucking shit you did, because we live in such a reactionary
I
goddamn
know.
world
That's
where
why
like
I just
everybody just spits the first thing they say,
yeah.
and then when it's wrong, you just backtrack completely or double down or just don't say anything. Like, how often do you hear somebody on the internet say, "Oh, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I fucked up."
The amount
Very rarely.
the amount of YouTuber fucking controversies where everyone immediately jumps on, and then if you find out the actual story, and you're like, oh, all right.
Yeah. God, whole thing's a goddamn mess.
But yeah, that's a thing.
Did we get Nintendo music?
We did. We're actually behind a few weeks.
Oh yeah. I haven't looked at again. I never look at this thing until
So
we're here.
the music app is getting confusing now because now they're like adding like random like one-off tracks. So like they just started doing a thing called like the free roam for Mario Kart World with like Super Mario Bros. Or Super Mario Bros. 2. So that's a thing. I don't know what that is, but we did get 2 new games recently.
Let's see. I saw Pikmin's in here. Again, Pikmin 1, the Switch version, and then Pikmin, the GameCube version. I'm pretty sure it's the same game. It's the same photo.
Is.
And then, yeah, Mario Kart World. I'm surprised we got Mario Kart World. It took this long to get that soundtrack.
There's one more.
And then Wii Sports Resort because of Switch Sports Resort. Though I had noticed, I don't know if you watched any of the direct beforehand, but they were doing like some like other trailers, and they snuck one thing in about the music app where now I guess you can get it on computers and tablets now.
Oh,
originally it was phone only, but they did a whole like just quietly before the direct they talked about some like Nintendo music updates, and that was one of them. Is that like now you can download like the app on your computer and shit now.
Computer,
which I thought was so stupid you couldn't do that anyways.
Computer, I kind of get. But tablet, that's just weird. Like, why not the tablet?
Yeah, the whole thing's weird and stupid, but it is what it is.
Yeah, everything about this goddamn app is weird.
Just call me when they put in Earthbound, and I'll be a happy boy. So,
God,
anyways,
I want Earthbound so bad, but for some reason, I feel like that one's like there's like a ton of red tape surrounding that soundtrack.
I don't know, don't care. Fucking do it. You own it. So, anyways, okay, guys, now we're finally gonna talk about a 3DO game. It feels like it's been forever, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Here we are, finally. So today we are covering Shockwave 2, Beyond the Gate, released in 1995. This game does not have a Wikipedia page.
No, it doesn't, which is
at all. And
hilarious.
It is hilarious. I even went to Backlogged, which is, where I hang out and, sometimes, post like what I've been playing or whatever. Mm-hmm. And there was nothing there. Like, I mean, it had a page, obviously, but like in terms of like any reviews or anything people had said, not a damn thing. There are 3 ratings. That's it.
So thankfully, this does have a fairly decent Moby Games page.
Yeah. Well, there's a little description here on Backlogged. I'm going to read this because I feel like it. It has been 20 years since the invading aliens have been driven back through the jump gate. On a planet close to the dormant gate, an alien artifact is found. When unknown aliens steal the artifact, privateer Captain Flint of the spaceship Cortez and his crew follow their ship through the jump gate, which leaves them stranded in an unknown star system. To find their way back, they have to find the artifact and the aliens. You take control of Flint. Aboard the Cortez, you can receive messages, scan the planets for possible mission sites, select suitable weapons. You have all your different craft, and it just gives you a little bit more detailed thing as you go. But that's kind of the whole premise of the game. Stargate.
Yeah. So you know what's really funny? This is like something I don't think we noticed when we talked about the original Shockwave. The original Shockwave came out on the Pippin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently.
Well, how about that?
So that's something. This game, though, weirdly enough, only came out on the 3DO.
Yeah, you talk about your console exclusives. Here you go. Shockwave 2, Beyond the Gate.
And what's interesting, so I'm gonna just say it right off the bat. Like the first game was a perfectly fine, but kind of whatever space shooter.
Yeah, it was like if I remember, it was a linear shooter as well.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it was fine. There was like nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, I would rather play Total Eclipse.
it's very much a game you would see on the shelf in 1994.
Yes. The sequel, on the other hand, improves on a lot.
Oh
And
yeah,
because of that, though, it sold worse and it's forever trapped on the 3DO.
yeah, because it came out in 90. I'm trying to think, 95.
3DO was on its way out because, as I
Yeah,
learned from those canceled games, a lot of 3DO games that were coming out in 95 were canceled.
yeah. I mean, it's a shame because you can definitely see an improvement on this from one. Like the production value is a lot higher. Like those FMV cutscenes
That
are a lot
opening
better.
cutscene where like the lady shows up and then that alien just kind of walks on screen. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is that?
Yeah, but you can tell like there's much more of a budget here for this game. And then yeah, you get into the game and the levels are a bit more non-linear this time around, where you're not really like in a spaceship, flying through like, like a rogue squadron or something like that. It's more you're controlling like land speeders, like hovercraft, and then kind of, going around this, decently sized map trying to blow up different like, radar stations and things like that while taking out enemies. And, and it feels like it's trying to like have a different style of gameplay attached to it as well. Trying to give it, I guess, more of a fresh identity. Like this comparison just hit my head, like a little Alien Front Online. Because when you play those levels, they're a little bit non-linear as well, with like different objectives to do. But that's of course from a third person perspective. Here they stick to the first person.
Yes.
So yeah, I can like, it's definitely like a higher quality game than the first one.
The 3D is much more refined.
The game was smooth as butter too. Like I when I played it, I play on emulator, but it was like a smooth 60. Like I was amazed at how like well this game ran. Like I was genuinely impressed by it, and even the 3D models in here are an improvement from the first game. Like again, the whole game is a huge improvement on the first, but it just fell into obscurity because people really didn't give a shit about the first one to begin with.
And the 3D was on its way out by the time it came out.
Yeah.
It's interesting looking at the 3D too, because when I think like pinnacle of 3D games on the 3DO, like I usually immediately go to it for at least this style. I usually go to like Blade Force.
Yeah.
This game definitely isn't as detailed, but I think it runs better than Blade Force.
Yeah, it's up there because it feels like, was it EA that made this one?
So it was technically made by a company called Advanced Technology Group 2, but I believe that is an EA just like studio.
Yeah, okay. Because it feels like this time around they like really got a handle on what this thing could do. Because I guess they're also credited on the original Shockwave, the 3DO version of Road Rash.
So they didn't actually do the 3DO version. They did the Windows, PlayStation, and Sega Saturn ports.
Okay, because according to Moby Games, they're credited on the 3DO and PlayStation versions. So maybe they did have a hand in it. I don't know.
So
I doubt their name here. Let me go get my Road Rash box.
Oh yeah, I guess they are. They are credited for it too. But there's like 3 different people credited for Road Rash.
Yeah. Remember this game, guys? Yeah, it doesn't necessarily specify. I didn't think it would on the box, but I just
they don't have a
like the box just says EA. Yeah.
They're on a Shockwave in this game. There's the EA Studios logo, which is like you only see on like these games.
Yeah, this guy, which like the Shapes logo, which ironically is about the same shapes used for the 3DO.
Yeah.
Well, we should cover Road Rash again for our newer audience members who probably didn't hear our review back in the.
We should probably do like a Road Rash like series retrospective at some point.
Oh, that would be good. Give me a reason to play them all. But yeah, like when you play Shockwave 2, you get the sense that they have a much better handle on the hardware. Like they know what it can do and what it can't do, and they're really optimizing it to its fullest. Like again, like the FMV stuff is like surprisingly like really nice quality.
Oh yeah.
Like I would say it's better quality than the Daedalus encounter
Yeah,
in terms of like
honestly.
the production quality and everything. And when I was playing, I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. Like it's not a flying game. It's probably just more like a first person tank game, really. And for that, I think it's, fairly solid. Like it controls well. The level design could be a little bit better. Like it doesn't make any sense. You can't go up hills, but that is what it is. I wish the map was a little bit more detailed, or you had like access to a bigger map so you could actually kind of get a better lay of the land. But like I didn't think the game was like crazy difficult or anything like that. And yeah, when I was playing it, I weirdly had a nice time with this one.
Yeah, it was fun. Like it was actually I didn't get bored immediately like I
No.
did with the first game.
Yeah, like I played a handful of levels and I was like, yeah, I'm vibing to this for sure. Like I like when I was playing it, I was like, could this be a hidden gem? Maybe.
It's definitely there's a better argument than the first game.
It's a contender for sure. Like, yeah, like everybody remembers the first Shockwave for some reason. But that's
Because
probably
it was a
probably because when
pack-in.
you bought your copy of Road Rash, bada boom, there it is.
It was also a pack-in with the Gold Star 3DO.
That's true. So it did have more visibility. So it feels like this game kind of got released into obscurity.
There's also a lot of
which is
copies of it out there.
unfortunate. Yeah, which is very unfortunate for this guy.
Yeah,
because I think it hung around a lot better than I thought it would.
Because Shockwave had the original Shockwave had the benefit of getting re-released as Shockwave Assault on a bunch of stuff, but they really didn't do enough to really make it worth picking up over the original.
Yeah.
Like it's only like marginally better. Yeah, looking at a few other things, like it looks like general consensus was this game was pretty well received overall. Like
I wasn't really able to find any reviews though.
So Moby Games has a decent amount.
Okay.
Like they're looking at the reviews on Moby Games, like you got like it's kind of around like the 80% area, like 80 to 70.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently GamePro US gave it 100%.
Wow.
Which is interesting.
Sure.
Or a 5 out of 5, technically. Same with Gameland, a Russian publication.
EGM gave it an 81.
Yeah, EGM. 3DO Magazine gave it a 4 to 5.
Okay.
The lowest was...
they kind of link to the reviews. Yeah, let's see what GamePro said. 3DO space jockeys will quickly become addicted to Shockwave 2's ferocious, intelligent action. One's definitely worth buying. Gameland is Russian, so no. Let's see. The worst one we see is the Video Game Critic. Who the fuck is the Video Game Critic?
I don't know.
Is that Doug Walker?
No, it's too high to be from Doug Walker. I've seen his game reviews.
Oh, they're so bad. But he's self-admittedly not really a guy who plays games a lot. So
yeah, he's admitted to it.
Yeah, EGM here says fans of the first Shockwave rejoice. Shockwave 2 is twice as fun. Unlike Shockwave, in which you only had one vehicle, you now have three, all with their own attributes, which is true. The storyline is interesting, makes you feel like you're in an actual part of the game. The video used in the cinema is surprisingly clear for the 3DO. Fans of the first will definitely find this just as exciting and fun, if not more so than the original. And yeah, that was how I was feeling because Shockwave is fine, just kind of just whatever. But playing this was like, yeah, this is like shockingly an improvement.
Yeah, this could have probably been something if it was released on a different console.
Yeah, and maybe because it was such a, I have a feeling it was so well optimized for the system specifically that's why it never came out on like PlayStation or Saturn or even like PC. Because I feel like a port job for this probably would have taken more work.
Probably.
And because Shockwave Assault didn't really move the needle, they're like, why would anybody buy Shockwave 2?
Yeah. I did notice, so I was curious because this is a later 3DO game. They tend to, the pricing can be hit or miss. This game's actually not that expensive. You can get full long boxes for like $30.
That's not bad. I actually might hunt this one down.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about it.
Because I kind of like the game enough to be like, you know what, I might do it.
Well, I was thinking about some of those late 3DO games, like are surprisingly easy to find. Like I always forget Blade Force is like one of the later 3DO games, even though it's
Oh
like
yeah,
pretty prominent from a lot of 3DO people.
it,
That
it
one's
is
pretty cheap.
it is a shame that quite a few of the late era 3DO games, like when they were kind of starting to figure it out in terms of the right kind of games to make for this thing and how to make them run better, that like
Yeah.
nobody cared anymore.
Well, the PlayStation was like right there, and it was kind of
I mean,
like
95 is the year of the PlayStation, and that, changed everything. So,
yeah,
yeah.
which is a shame because the more you learn about the 3DO, the more you realize it really had potential. They just bungled it the entire time.
Yeah, yeah. They were trying too hard to be like cutting edge when really I think they could have focused more on being quirky and affordable. And I
Yeah,
think that would have helped them out. Like they could have been like, I don't know, the TurboGrafx 16 of this era had they more kind of focused on like that kind of quirky identity they had and been like, we'll be a cult console. Because that's really what the TurboGrafx was, even though it had more of an audience in Japan. But
the 3DO had a weird, like to be fair to the 3DO, it
really
did have
had an audience in Japan.
yeah, it was weird. Like it was surprisingly popular over there for what it was.
Yeah.
At least until the PlayStation came out.
Yeah. I would love to video game hunt in Japan just to see what 3DO stuff shows up.
I want a Sanyo so bad, but I heard those are like expensive even there. So.
Yeah. I would just love to go through a retro video game store in Japan and then find a whole stack of 3DO games and be like, these are all dirt cheap. I'm just gonna grab them all.
When Alex went to Japan, she like would send me photos of just like the game stores. Oh, they weren't even game stores. They were just like electronics shops that just had a bunch of junk and like
oh yeah,
so many like super rare games over here just piled up. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like
because I don't think Japan has the same like collecting mentality that we do.
No, they don't. But they also like they treat their games so well because like all those GBA games still have their boxes. Like you don't just see loose like shredded boxes.
Like people don't sell their games nearly as much, and also most people just don't have the space to store all these games because Japanese houses are a lot smaller.
Yes.
So really for them, like digital libraries are kind of the way to go.
Yeah. So. But even they still have their physical mentality for a lot of things.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So interesting little bit of trivia. Apparently a Mac port was developed for this game.
We could have got it for the Pippin.
I know, right?
God damn it.
So apparently
stay tuned for the Pippin perspective or whatever.
Write that down.
Can you even emulate the Pippin?
I have no idea. I don't think so.
I don't even want to try.
All I'd want to play is Marathon, and I can play that on fucking other means.
You could probably get a PC port of that thing.
Probably. So apparently, because it was canceled because the game sold poorly on 3DO, and EA canceled all ports to other platforms. The Mac version. The reason why the Mac version is notable is because it was apparently near completion and was completed before EA canceled it. And apparently the EA sold the publishing rights to Aztec New Media, who released it as part of their MacPack Blitz compilation. So the Mac port does exist.
I was going to say, yeah, it sounds like it is real, but probably one of the most rare things in existence.
It's in this obscure as fuck compilation release that Moby Games apparently
What is it called? What is it called again?
MacPack Blitz.
MacPack Blitz. I'm just going to check the old eBay and see if anything pops up.
It doesn't even have a photo on Moby
Let's
Games.
see. Oh, there is one listing.
Huh.
It says MacPack Blitz, lot of 4 CDs, Shockwave, and more. And we have Shockwave Assault, Beyond the Gate.
Yep.
Heroes of Might and Magic. This looks to have a bunch of stuff on it. Return to Zork, Bloodbath, A10 Cuba, and then SimCity.
Oh yeah, Trophy Bass.
And this lot is $20.
Oh, that's not bad.
if only I had a Mac to play them on.
If only my computer had a disk drive, because I just realized it does not.
And these are also like Mac discs. I don't think you can put them into a Windows computer and
Yeah.
they'd work.
That's true.
Probably not.
The
Because
wacky
right below that, I see Blitz Gem and Jewelry Cleaner Liquid.
sounds about right.
Delicious. But yeah, yeah, Shockwave 2 is a shame. It's a shame it didn't really get that chance to, kind of be a hidden gem. Who knows? We might be one of the we might be the people that finally makes this game enter the hidden gem status that it always should have been. Because even 3DO retrospectives don't cover this game.
No, they really don't.
They sometimes bring up one, sometimes. But
I found like one review, and it wasn't even really a review. It was just a guy playing it and being like, "This game's pretty good."
Yeah,
like that was like all the review was.
And that's really the best way I can describe it. It was like, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's kind of good. Yeah.
This is such a weird one because there are so many like 3DO games that like no one ever talks about, but they kind of have like this legendary status on the system. Like Quarantine's one of the ones where it's like,
yeah, or Gex.
Well, Gex transcended the 3DO. Same with like Need for Speed and Road Rash.
Yeah, but everybody associates Gex with 3DO.
Yeah, which is weird because like the 3DO version is arguably the worst version.
Yeah,
despite what people will say, and I might have been guilty of saying in the past.
That's okay. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is another instance. We'd have to go through them all of games that we discovered were like genuine gems on this console.
I mean,
we found one, Bill. We finally did.
Well, I still think like the pinnacle of that is Icebreaker. Like that'll forever be like why is that game so good?
yeah, Icebreaker's so good. Yeah,
Icebreaker and like Escape from Monster Manor are like the two. Where
those were like the ones that like holy shit. I mean, I would give honestly in the hidden gem genre of a 3DO, I'd probably give this guy the bronze medal.
Yeah,
but good job, man.
I'm not sure if I'd say it's S tier. We'll find out in a couple of weeks once we do the next tier ranking. But
yeah, but I mean, I'd give this game fairly high marks.
Yeah, it's either a very low A or high B.
Yeah, for sure. I was impressed. I was genuinely impressed.
I went in not expecting anything, and I came out being like, this is good. Like this is actually better than Total Eclipse.
Yeah, I'm glad I made you hold off on us covering this game until after all the news.
Well, yeah, because that would have been
because we would have like and then 10 minutes of Shockwave was a thing. Okay, bye, and we would have done that game such an injustice.
Dirty. Also, that would have been such a rude episode. like, hey, here's this 4-hour segment, and by the way, the topic is like literally like 2 minutes at the end.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I quite enjoyed this one. I'm half tempted to say must play. I'm half tempted to.
I'm gonna say it's I'm not gonna say must. It's like I'm gonna say must play / okay. Like it's kind of in the middle.
How about a should play? You should play it, which isn't the same as a must.
Yeah. Let's do a should play.
Yeah, like it's right. It's better than okay, but it's not fully a must play. It's close, but it's not quite there.
Yeah.
But I feel like saying okay is like it's better than that.
Yeah, okay is kind of mean to this game because this game is better than okay. It's
a good play. A good play.
Like they say with some franchises, the second time's the charm, and this game surely was.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I feel like the biggest curse of games or even like bands or whatever is when your first outing is like so good, because then you're like, shit, we have to live up to this thing. Fuck. You're better off when you're like when you're a band, if your first album is shit, it's like you can only go up from here.
Like your first album's like just okay.
Yeah. But when your first album's, I don't know, in the Court of the Crimson King, then you're like, God damn it. We gotta live up to this.
Yeah, which is
but it would take them a couple years and like even more lineup changes to get there. But they did.
Or like Boston's first album followed up by their second.
That second album's so whatever.
It's like it needed another song.
Yeah, that would have helped.
And then they just decided to take like 20 years between each record.
You're better off your first album being Yes's debut record.
Yeah,
where it's like it's okay.
Yeah, it would take them
that is a C tier record through and through.
Now Genesis's first record, on the other hand,
No.
Trespass is
No.
basically their first record.
Yes. The one before that, no, it was produced by a convicted pedophile.
Yeah,
so no.
I know.
He also named the band, god damn it. He also named 10cc. Fun fact. I don't want to say his name because no. And he was convicted. He spent time in jail, so I can say it.
Yep. And that record,
what's it with old British guys being pedos? Anyway.
And that record's shit anyways, so there's no reason even
there's some okay moments on there. There's some okay bits, you know? Like you can definitely tell like there are some good songwriters in there, but they hadn't figured it out yet.
Yeah. Trespass was
because they were trying to be pop. And then they're like, we can't. Let's rip off Procol Harum and King Crimson. Okay, there we go with Trespass. And then they do the proggy. Well, that's the nice. But then they do the proggy stuff. But then they come back around to being pop songwriters. But they had figured it out at that point, and so it worked out.
Yeah,
that's why Genesis worked, because at their heart they were songwriters, and that's why their music, I think, lasted compared to some of their other bands of that era, because you can tell some of them were just musicians who like tried to write songs. It's different than a songwriter. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it is what it is.
But yeah. So that was Shockwave, a very good game on the 3DO.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I genuinely recommend y'all should go fire that up and go give it a play.
You feeling like a shoot 'em up, like shooter style game?
If you want to play like a weird faux tank game, here you go.
Like imagine Star Fox, but like you're in you're always in like the Landmaster.
Yeah, and then I forgot to mention, we talked about the FMV cutscenes, but like when you're between missions, you'll sometimes get videos from people. And I watched those and I was like, yeah, these aren't cringy. I wouldn't say they're amazing, but they're like decently acted.
What was the game we played recently where like the cutscenes were ridiculous? Oh no, that was wasn't that Sewer Shark? Yeah, Sewer Shark was bizarre.
That's awesome on the different end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Oh,
that's more memorable. I will say that.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, that was Shockwave 2.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed that one very much, but
I did too.
I guess now, anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us on the 3DO Experience. You can find 3DO Experience on all the major podcasting platforms. Check us out on the Superpod Network, superpodnetwork.com. Awesome site. Whole bunch of awesome podcasters, blogs, all sorts of fun stuff. Thrack Ops just came out.
Yep, Thrack Ops 14 on Black Ops 3. Took longer than I would care to admit, just because of some behind the scenes shenanigans, but everything's all good now. And then episode 15, I'm not recording until early July, but hopefully that'll be out shortly after the fact, because nice. I do have in the next couple weeks, it's going to be a little busy around here. I can still make the shows, but it'll be busy. So So don't be surprised when I come in and I'm like, I'm fucking stressed because everything's nuts.
Yeah,
so,
I hear you.
We'll worry about that later.
And I guess I'll shout out, I was recently on an episode of Delayed Gaming News. Go check that out. We talked about recent announcements similar to last week's episode, but more fast. We didn't go into every little thing.
Yeah, and you were very tired.
I was. Shout out to those. Also, like my camera. I don't think the video version is going up, but in the video version,
do a video version?
So they have them recorded, but they haven't posted them, from what I've heard.
That's weird.
My camera was like wicked delayed, so like I was like phasing in and out of existence. That's why I kind of sound out of it, because I'm like reacting to that as I was recording. But yeah, that was a fun time. Also, keep an eye out at the end of this week. We have a new 3DO coming out. So
yes, part of like I've done quite a few guesting things on other shows and other forums. I don't know when all that stuff's coming out. I'll let you all know, but yes, we got a 3DO coming out that is connected to another guest appearance I did, but that's not out yet. I don't know when it'll be, but you guys will know eventually.
Is it a good game? Is it a bad game?
It's all the game.
You'll wait and see. It was something, all right.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and Until next time, guys. I forgot how to do my outro. What?
Thanks everybody for listening to the 3DO experience. We'll see you next week with more 3DO. Bye bye.
Have a good one.